Church Growth Unleashed, diving into all things leadership and church growth. Provide the help, encouragement, insights that you need along the journey of growing yourself as a leader and your ministry.
Well, welcome back to the Church Growth Unleashed podcast. So excited to be here with you again this month. A very special guest with us in the studio today. His name is Ryan Maher, and you guys are going to be incredibly blessed. Ryan Maher is the pastor and director for Life.Church social media, perhaps the largest church in America. Lead pastor Craig Rochelle, some of you guys may know him, over 40 campuses across the country, and they're just making an incredible difference, impact in the world. Ryan was one of the first Christian influencers and now co-leads several social media ministries. Some of you may know them: Trust God Bro, Her True Worth, and his own personal Ryan Maher account, totaling over 12 million followers with a monthly reach, get this, of over 500 million people monthly. And he also leads a prayer channel that has 4.2 million followers that Ryan sends a prayer out every day, goes right to their phone, which is just insane. He is also the author of a brand new book called The God Who You Can Trust, The God You Can Trust, right there. And so excited to talk about that with you today. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But first, I just want to say, Ryan, thanks for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. This is a huge honor, and we've talked about it for a while. And
yes, we have.
I'm excited to spend some time together and talk about social media and all the things. So yeah. This is great.
Tell, just really quick, this is unplanned here, but to tell the audience real quick how we first met. It's just a little quick story. It's kind of funny.
My wife and I were living in Greenwood, which is where we're located here. And I knew that you were the pastor of this church, and we had attended, and I went to LA Fitness to play basketball. Yep. And as I was playing basketball, I noticed this guy over here with a good jump shot. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's the pastor of the church right down the street that we attend. And we just hit it off and started playing basketball together. And he's one of the best basketball players I've seen in a long time. So don't let him fool you.
I still remember that day. I'm like, you just walked up to me and started talking to me. Yeah. I'm like, oh, hey, how are you doing? And you start asking me questions about the church's social media. I'm like, I know nothing.
Hey. It's awesome.
It was great. That struck up a friendship. We played lots of basketball together, and it's been a lot of fun over the years. So, again, thanks for being on the show here. Ryan's not just an incredible pastor and incredibly skilled, but he's also one of my good buddies. So let's jump into social media really quick, because what you're doing is just absolutely phenomenal for Life Church. There's a lot of churches out there that I would say they struggle in this area. Mm-hmm. They really don't know much or what to do or how to do it. So why don't you give us a little picture real quick of what your role is? When I say pastor, director of social media, what's your responsibility? What's your role at Life Church?
Yeah. So I have the honor and privilege of leading a small team. I'm part of a greater social media team that has about 10 people on it or so, and we oversee a lot of different accounts. So we have in the organization, we have the senior pastors social media accounts, the Life Church global accounts. YouVersion is its own separate thing, but we get to advise them and help them. And then we have this network of what we call non-branded accounts. They're and I'll go into detail about that later, but basically it's a group of accounts that add value. They're Christian accounts, and they can send traffic to the Bible app. They can send traffic to church online. And we get to do some things that maybe a typical church can't do in terms of speed and scale and adding value in ways like using new features rapidly. Like if something comes out today, we could start doing it today. Typically in a part of the organization's brand, you might have brand guidelines, or you might have other things that maybe would be a slower rollout. We could move rapidly. Mm-hmm. And so we get to do a lot of different things to add value and preach the gospel. And it's pretty wild. That network has grown. 7 years ago is when I started at Life Church. We've grown that to about 13 million followers across about 40 different accounts.
That's just incredible.
Yeah. So it's reaching a couple billion people per year across the network in terms of reach.
That was like a B.
With
billion.
a B, yeah.
Just incredible.
I don't think I can say that enough times and have it settle in that it is with a B.
Yeah.
And again, it might be someone saw a graphic.
Mm-hmm.
It may be somebody saw a reel.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're trying to do is sow seeds all over the internet.
Absolutely.
And the harvest is plentiful and the workers are few.
Yeah.
And we take that seriously. And I'm so blessed that I have a role at Life.Church that when I was doing things on my own and got exposed, I was always a big fan of Life.Church and Pastor Craig from afar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I met Bobby Greenwood it was actually at a Christian influencer event. I had the opportunity to meet him and a few others, and got to have the opportunity to potentially help them. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the greatest opportunity in the world, in my world.
Yeah.
The tech church that created the Bible app, the church online platform. I'm like, yes, how can I help in any way that I can?
It's incredible.
So yeah, it's been a huge blessing, and I get to do a variety of different things, but running this network, we're able to send traffic to the branded accounts. We're able to take a piece of content that's on the branded side and send it out to infinitely more on the non-branded side. So it's a couple of different worlds that we operate in, but it's a strategy that when we say non-branded, people are like, ooh, tell me more, because we kind of made it up, the concept. So yeah.
It's incredible. God's put you in an incredible position at such a time as this in the history of the world to make an impact with the gospel through social media. And I just want to learn as much as possible here. Yeah. I know our audience does too. Okay, so one of the questions that a lot of pastors have is, okay, social media, yeah, that's where the eyeballs are. That's where the people are. Well, I know I need to be on it, using it, but what should the goal be as a church? And I know we have business leaders listening here too, but let's just focus in on, like, I'm a pastor. What should the goal be? What am I trying to achieve with my social media?
Well, I'm pulling up this chart that I'm going to show you in a second. I totally, it's amazing. The goal of church social media, if you think about it, we send missionaries all over the world. If there's an area that's untapped, a country that's untapped, we send missionaries there.
Right.
To spread the gospel. Well, I look at social media as uncharted waters, a pond to fish in. Instagram is one pond, TikTok is another, Facebook is another. And never before in human history have we had more people available with, like this chart. I don't know if you can zoom in on this chart. It might be, and we can give you the graphic afterwards.
Yeah, we can put it in the show notes.
But this, can you see it at all? Is it just completely blown out?
No, it's good.
Yeah, it's completely blown out. But this chart is a chart of the population over the course of time. So from the time of Christ until now. And what you'll see in this chart is it slowly it's very stable and very, it's not growing at all. And then it has a massive spike that goes up. And the population has exploded from the time of the 1700s till now. And then there's this yellow part right here, which represents the technology age in which we currently live in. And I remember when I first saw this chart, it kind of changed everything for me. It actually makes me emotional every time I talk about it, because never before in human history have we had more people with the technology to reach them. And so when Jesus says, go make disciples of all nations, before that was a thing where, like, okay, if I can walk or take a boat. Right. But now you're telling me I can pull, the Apostle Paul, if he had it now, you mean I can pull out this device and I can go live and people from every nation can see me? Yeah. Are you kidding me right now?
It's crazy.
And so never before in human history have we had the opportunity to reach people in these ways. Yeah. And so for me, I know that the enemy is using the internet and social media.
He sure is.
He's using them in his ways. And I always look at it like it's a neutral tool. It's like a hammer. You can use a hammer to build, or you can use a hammer to crush. Right. And I know the enemy is using it for his purposes. So when I see a chart like this and I'm like, okay, never before in human history have we had more people, but also we live in the time of technology, AI, all this stuff where we can scale rapidly. We can reach people in ways that we never could before. And I always think of the Apostle Paul. I'm like, he'd be like, I don't have to walk 50 miles to this other location or travel to another country. I can just, wow, you know?
Yeah, I remember you said that to me one time. I don't know if last year or something, like, would the Apostle Paul be on TikTok? Would he be on Instagram? And I thought, he would, absolutely. He'd be preaching.
Like, are there people there?
Yeah, that's where people are. Yeah, absolutely. You made a video last year or the year before, and it was just a simple gospel presentation, John 3:16. And I was blown away with how many people actually accepted Christ. Just, everything was like a 7-minute video that you made. How many people did put their faith in Christ through that video?
That video was the catalyst for many videos that have followed. Like, we just did one for Easter.
I saw it.
And and talked about Good Friday and you know, Resurrection Sunday, you know, and because everyone's thinking about it. But those videos last year, we had over 10,000 people say that they accepted Christ on those videos, and millions of views.
That's incredible.
And so what's really cool too is we can sprinkle those types of videos over a lot of different accounts.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've had a couple that just blew up on one account, but then we've had some that's like 200,000 views over here, 300,000 views over there.
Yeah.
And the reason why we do that is because, and this I'll get to talking about, you know, that's another reason why as a church, if you're a pastor or you work for a church, please, please, please advocate that your church be active on social media, because the harvest is plentiful and the workers are few.
Sure.
The people are already on the platform.
Yeah.
They're there. Most people, myself included at times, will wake up in the morning, and before I get out of bed, before my feet hit the ground, I might pull my phone out and be like, oh, what's going on Instagram?
I try to tell my people not
you know,
to do that.
Don't do it. You know, Bible app first or whatever, quiet time first. But am I being honest?
Yeah,
I mean,
do that.
People do it. And
absolutely.
And so the people are there. It's the greatest pond to fish in ever.
Yeah.
So we already have billions of people that are on social media daily. And the statistics say that in the next couple of years, another billion will go online.
That's crazy.
Onto social media. So not just on the internet, but on social media. So nowadays it's like the moment you get access to the internet, you get the internet so that you can get on social media.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's a
so the goal, obviously,
place.
so the goal is ministry. It's reaping the harvest. It's seeing people come to Christ and encouraging them. And I totally love that and totally agree. Okay. So another quick question for you. What are some, just a practical question, what are some of the most effective ways that churches can utilize social media to achieve that goal? Like, I'm talking about what kind of content, how often should they post? Like, get practical.
Yeah. So the average, remind me of the question in a second, because I'm going to say one thing and then I don't want to forget it. But the average church will use social media as a bulletin board. They'll treat it like it's a megaphone for ministry instead of the ministry itself. We have kids ministry, we have all these other ministries, but then when it comes to social media, we just want to talk about the other ministries.
Right.
And those accounts will never grow because there's no value there. It's just an announcement. So imagine watching.
Hold on. We got to let our audience needs to let that sink in.
Yeah.
Those accounts will not grow.
Never.
Because there's no value there. It's an announcement board, and that's not why people are going to social media.
Imagine watching something on TV, a channel that only had commercials.
It's incredible. I wouldn't watch it.
No, you just be like, I want to watch the show.
Yeah.
That's why we pay extra money for Hulu Plus and all the higher tier things.
I don't want to watch the commercials.
I don't want to watch any commercials. I just want to get the value. And so the goal is for your church or for a senior pastor account is to add value consistently over time.
Yeah.
And that's when somebody asks me, like, how do I grow on social media? Add value consistently over time. If you do that, you will succeed, and you will impact millions of people. You have to think about the person who picks up their phone and is in despair and is going through life. And they might follow hundreds of accounts. We get to, your shirt's perfect. We get to be hope dealers.
Yeah.
Your shirt says hope dealer. We get to be hope dealers on social media. Instead of the anxiety-driven, endorphin,
Anger.
or outrage,
Mm-hmm.
or just all the things that we get. Like, you're on TikTok, you're just what they call it doom scrolling.
Right.
You can go from I don't know, a golden retriever, oh, that's so cute, to, oh man, I just saw something horrible happen in the news, I'm so down, and like
It just happened to me yesterday.
down, and it's a knee-jerk reaction all the time. We want to show up as the body of Christ, as a church leader. We want to show up and offer hope and sow seeds, so that we are pointing people to the Bible. We are pointing people to Jesus. And that there's been, I cannot even tell you, especially with the broadcast channels, the prayer channel, I've had more ministry come out of that than anything that I've ever done on social media, because it's a direct, message.
Yeah.
It pops up on their lock screen.
Yeah. They get a notification every morning.
Notification.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a huge advocate, and we'll talk about that in a second. But tons of times people are like, you've taught me how to pray. I was gonna end my own life. The amount of, because it's a direct line.
Yeah.
And so I can't advocate more that if you are a church who is not taking social media ministry, and I'm saying that intentionally, social media ministry seriously, you have to.
Yeah.
Because there's people there, and those people matter, and you're already. We talked about earlier about every church these days is kind of like a little mini media company, because there's only a handful of ways to reach people. There's audio, video, and the written word, right? So nowadays, with this device right here, with an iPhone, I can do all of those things just on my one phone. So the barrier for entry is way lower. We like to complicate it.
Sure.
But a lot of the content that I make on my phone.
Yeah, me too.
You make your videos in your car.
Yeah.
And those are amazing, by the way. And by the way, if you're watching this from the prayer channel, I should have said this earlier, because I'll be sharing it there. You need to follow Pastor Danny Anderson at Pastor Danny Anderson and the podcast.
You get some hope.
You'll get some hope, because he's making videos that are amazing. We'll share one of those after that. But you need to be on social media, adding value and sharing the gospel.
Yeah.
Because imagine it being a country without evangelists, without anybody going, no missionaries. Will you be the missionary? Will you be the one to go on this platform and share the gospel? And I think a lot of times, a lot of churches are reluctant. They'll share clips. But what we need the entire gospel. I want you to make a decision on the video.
Yeah. I definitely fall short of that.
It's one of those things
I
where
like
it's like
to encourage. I like to give a word of a scripture, an idea, a principle, and sometimes even challenge people to, hey, take action on that. But I've never made a video where I've said, okay, right now, I'm challenging you to put your faith in Jesus. If you'd like to do that, say this prayer.
I think we might have to do a live and do it together, and you're going to be the one to do it. And then you're going to be like, what?
Well, obviously it works because you did it, and 10,000 people over a short period of time prayed that prayer to receive Christ, and let you know specifically that they did that.
And what's amazing too, here's a tactical tool, is one of the tools that you've probably seen it on social media, where someone in the caption or in the content says, comment this certain word.
Yeah.
And we'll send you the guide or whatever. Like on my post for the book, which we'll talk about, is like, if you comment book on my account, it sends you a link to the book.
Yeah.
Well, you can do that for your sermons. So you have a clip, you say, comment hope or comment sermon number 1 or whatever, and it will send you a full link on YouTube to whatever.
It's great.
So there's ways that we follow up. So all those people that accepted Christ, we have a whole funnel that they go through. When they say, because I say, like, if you just accepted Christ, comment, I just accepted Christ.
Sure.
And then when they do that, it triggers it's called ManyChat. It's an automation that follows up with them via DM, direct message. And
gets them connected to the church, gets them the materials they need.
Get the Bible app in their hands, on their phone. And I have audio messages that I have pre-recorded that you can add to it. So it's like, imagine you just led someone to Jesus on social media, and then it's your voice. It's like, hey, congratulations. That's the most amazing thing. Great decision. I want to get you connected. Here's your next step.
Yeah. That's
all
great.
automated.
So good.
So there's some amazing things that you can do.
I
in this arena.
Okay, so how often should content like that be going out? Is it daily? Is it twice a week, 3 times a week? What do you think?
So I'm always an advocate, and actually my coworkers at Life.Church will, if they watch this, will get a kick out of it. I'm always talking about it like at bats, like baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it like this: if you're playing baseball and you only go up to bat 1 time per game, how many opportunities do you have to hit a home run? 1.
Yeah.
If you go up to bat twice, well, you just increased your odds by 100%.
Yeah.
You know, the more at bats, the more opportunities you have to reach people.
Yeah.
Because the algorithm, it's not going to always show it to the same people. Everyone's like, well, I don't want to bombard people. You're not, because the algorithm will show it to different people.
Sure.
And you know, the glory days of Instagram where like whoever was following you, they just saw it if they were on social media. It's not like that anymore. But the flip side of that is, because the algorithm, once it's called, and Gary Vee talks about this a lot, it's no longer like social media, but it's interest media. So if someone's interested in a topic and you make a great piece of content, it has the opportunity to be seen by millions of people, even if you're a brand new account.
Right.
Because the algorithm can take it, and if people engage with it and send all the signals that the algorithm wants, it'll show it to more people. So I'm always an advocate to post more than you are. So if you're not posting daily, you need to start posting daily.
Okay. That's the answer to the question.
Barrier to entry. You need to post every day, you know, because think about it.
Not announcements.
Not announcements.
Value.
Oh yeah. By the way, if you post an announcement, that doesn't count.
There you go.
That doesn't count.
How
at
about
all.
that?
It has to be a value post. So think about it like this. Gary Vaynerchuk has a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook.
Yeah.
So in boxing, you hit them with, I'll just do it reverse. So if your jab is here, you hit them with the jabs, and then finally you come in with the right hook. But the jab is the consistent thing. Value. And then you hit them with a, hey, check out this event.
Sure.
But if everything that you have is all commercials, the reason why they can have commercials is because they have all the value.
Right.
You know, otherwise you would never subscribe.
Right.
So you have to have all the value. So I would say you up the value as much as possible. And this is not just so that you can hit them with your seminar or your whatever. This is, you want to add the value because it's the bread of life.
Sure.
You know, people are in despair.
Yeah.
And we don't take it, we don't like put the value on it. But if someone is in despair and then they see something that's bringing them hope, you may have saved their life.
I know.
And we don't think about it like that. And we'll never know this side of heaven what has taken place and how God has used that. But I look at it, every post, every reel, every sermon clip is an opportunity for God to work in people's lives.
Yeah.
And if we take that seriously, what could happen in the kingdom?
Yeah.
You know?
And
the last thing I'll say about that, well, I'm sure I have more.
This is incredible. Keep going.
If you're not investing in social media and posting your content there, then I want to say that you're leaving so much on the table, not only for the influence that you can have as a pastor or a church, but there's people that need you. There's people that
they need your voice.
They need your voice.
They need your voice.
The people that are watching your videos, they need your perspective. They need your encouragement. And it's like the hand needs the elbow, the body of Christ. It's like, but there's so many people there, and it's just this massive. The harvest is plentiful and the workers are few. I'll just say it a million times.
And
because
there's a lot of voices that need to be out there.
Yep.
Yeah. I remind myself of that when I get a little weary of posting, or I make several posts that don't do so well. The thing that gets me back in the game or keeps me in the game is like, okay, but there's folks out there that need to hear this particular thought that I'm having today from Scripture, and so I'm gonna keep posting. So I try not to let the feedback or the amount of views or likes from a previous post, or even 2 or 3 previous posts, stop me or discourage me from continuing to push and to reach people.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because what the temptation will be is that you might start a church social media page or a pastor, senior pastor page, and you'll get a little bit of momentum, or maybe you won't, and then you'll be tempted to stop.
Yeah.
I would ask you to commit over the long haul. Like, give it a year. See what happens in a year. And sometimes we look at social media posts, and as it scales, it's more ridiculous. But you look at a video and you're like, oh man, that only got 5,000 views. Only 5,000 people saw it. You know, That's bigger than most churches in America.
Yeah.
Like 90% of them. And so that my encouragement to you is, would you like to have, I don't know, reach 500,000 more people per month?
Yeah.
Because if you were consistent over that month, you could. You could. What would happen to your church if you did that?
Yeah.
What, even the brand of the church, if you want to call it that, the exposure of the church and the church resources and the ministry opportunities, if more people know about it.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's great. Okay. Super practical question. Because I know pastors think in these terms. I know I do. We now have a social media person, paid staff member. That hasn't always been the case.
All right.
What would you say to maybe some smaller churches that are like, man, their budget is smaller. They need a children's director. They need a youth pastor. They need this person. They need admin. They need, small groups guy and and now there's this other thing called social media director. Does that rise to the level of importance of these other positions? Has it become a non-negotiable in terms of being effective in today's world?
That's a good question. I think we're getting there. I think we're getting there, but it's still, if you ask the average church, do you have a paid staff person for social media? The answer is absolutely not. If it's a really big church, then maybe. But as a social media director myself, I would say, yeah, it's a bit, so I'm a little skewed, but we have social media specialists, we have associate social media specialists, we have social media managers, and then we have social media directors and on up. And so is that necessary for a lot of churches? It depends on the scale. Probably not, but it depends on the scale.
But Life.Church has got 45 campuses, and Easter you had 180,000 people in attendance. I mean, so that's playing at that's like at another stratosphere of church. So that makes sense for Life.Church. But you're talking about the smaller church. And what do? I don't have much money. Should I get a part-time person? Should I get a volunteer to do it? Like speak to that guy. Yeah.
So I would say at a minimum, if you have an iPhone, you have the ability to learn new things, and you can learn and do challenging things. So if this is new to you, have somebody help you. If you're a senior pastor and you don't have the budget, but you have a phone that can record videos, you could get a little tripod mount and you could literally start making videos in your car. You have the ability to have other people help you, but sometimes it's just easier to do it in your car. And there's sermon clips. You could start with sermon clips. So for example, you could hire or have a volunteer help you just edit your sermons. Imagine having editing your sermons and just getting individual clips from those. You see that a lot of times on churches where they have clips, and then you can tell people about the full length sermon. But that's the lowest barrier for entry, is like, have somebody help you edit your sermon. Somebody's already helping you film it, most likely. Have somebody help you edit them and put those clips onto social media vertically. And please don't do it horizontally. You want to make it vertical, because the size of the phone is vertical. So all the social media platforms are vertical. So that's always something I see too, is just, we still want to use this instead of, the other way.
Yeah.
And, but, invest in it. I think it's important because, not only, it's hard to say is the children's, because the people that are physically there, I think we still live in a mindset that's like, well, they're physically here, we need to do something with them. So yes, but to treat social media like it's just a bulletin board, that's the wrong thing to do. If you expand out of that mindset and think, wow, I can actually reach people in new and meaningful ways, then you might put some investment in that, or at least have, put it out there, make an announcement. We need some volunteers. All you young people that, get a college student, get somebody that knows how to use their phone.
There's somebody
that can help you.
And I think that where I'm at with it, it would be negligent for a pastor to either look to that as a bulletin board for announcements or not pour energy into, because what we're talking about is reaching your community. And that's where people are. People are on Instagram. They're on TikTok. And so you have to have a presence there, whether it's through a volunteer, part-time person, or a paid staff member. what I'm hearing you saying. Like it's at the level. It's non-negotiable to do ministry in our world today.
Yeah. And some people will look at their local church as a local ministry. But when you're talking about these worldwide platforms, yes, you can talk to your local, your local community on that massive worldwide platform, but you're also talking to everyone. So that's another tip that I would say is that don't just make content that's like, hey, Greenwood, hey, OKC.
Right.
If
speak to the nation,
speak to everyone, make it evergreen enough that it's like, is this a Bible verse? Is this a devotional that could apply to anyone? Make it for anyone, because we have people from every nation and every tongue. Oh, by the way, the platforms themselves, like Meta owns Instagram, and Meta has their own AI department, and they have their open language models and all sorts of stuff. They are now translating every reel that's under 3 minutes with the opportunity to translate it into all these different languages, and it lip dubs. So now when I'm making my videos,
that's crazy.
I'm in Hindi, and I'm in Portuguese, and I'm in Spanish, and there's like 10 different languages. They keep on rolling out more. So if the video is under 3 minutes, which you can get a sermon clip that's under 3 minutes, and you just run it through there, it will lip dub and match up.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Which, by the way, if that's not on your account, we need to turn that on.
Yeah.
Yours are always under 3, which you're doing great. Yeah. So we need to turn that on. So imagine that. We have so many people all over the world.
That's mind-boggling.
And now we have the technology to literally speak their native language. It's incredible. I get DMs all the time, and I can't understand. Yeah. But now, because of the platform, I can tap and hold on the DM, and it says translate, automatically translate, and then I can send it back in English.
You could read their message. Wow.
I can.
That's wild.
Yeah, so it's like this whole nother universe that we can operate in.
So now, you think about the Apostle Paul now, can you imagine with the no language
interpreter
barrier?
Yeah, no interpreter. Yeah.
AI is the interpreter.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Eventually it'll be Star Trek. We'll get a little thing right here, and it'll just, I'll say it, and then it automatically, you hear it in your language. It's probably a couple years away.
Well, that's fantastic. Hey, I know that we could talk about social media for another hour easily, but I do want to get to your book. I'm so excited for you. The title of the book is The God Worth Trusting. I know you've been working on it for quite some time. Very, very excited for you. Okay, so just let's transition to that real quick. Tell us, why did you write a book about trusting God? Like, what's the story there? So,
what's funny is I think about 10 years ago, I remember talking to you about this subject, and it was going to be more of a prayer book. The prayer book's still going to happen, but the core of this is the more I've posted on social media and the more I've seen with these gospel-centered videos, I'm looking now at what are the roadblocks for people to accept Christ. And I think one of the biggest roadblocks, because I was in the military for 8 years. I was military police. And one of the things that we were trained on is if you're driving in a convoy with a bunch of Humvees and you come to a roadblock and you can't continue, so what do you have to do? You have to pull your vehicles up, you have to get out of the vehicles tactically, and you have to watch out for an ambush.
Sure.
Because that's what happens at roadblocks a lot of times, is they do that intentionally so they can ambush you. I look at that the devil has done an amazing job of putting roadblocks in front of people, because if you can get someone to blame God for things, to see him incorrectly, to think the wrong things about him, because we know if what you think affects your feelings, right? I always think about the coffee pot analogy of like whatever you put in the top of the coffee pot, the water goes through and it drips through the coffee beans and goes into your heart. So, out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. And if you're thinking the wrong things and you believe the wrong things about God, then you're going to feel the wrong, things that are wrong. Like we get so hung up on our feelings, but our thoughts lead our feelings.
Absolutely.
And so I looked at this major roadblock of people seeing God incorrectly, not knowing his character, blaming him. And I feel like I just had to do something.
Yeah.
And I, at a certain point, I felt like if somebody were to come in here and start, blaming you or speaking poorly about you as my friend, I could just sit back and say nothing. Or I could speak up and be like, excuse me.
Yeah.
That's no, No, you got that completely wrong. And I feel like people are blaming God and hurling all these, like blasphemy about God, calling the God of the universe evil. I can't think of a more blasphemous thing to say, is that the God of the universe is evil, completely upside down. And so for me, this book is basically me standing up and saying, all right, I want to set the record straight. This is the book that I wish someone had given me when I lost both my parents. I lost my mom about 20 years ago. I lost my dad a few years ago. I lost my first Christian best friend 20 years ago. He was one of the guys that I joined the Army with. And, after you go through some stuff, which I know we all have, and if you haven't,
you will.
You will. I want your faith to be ready, because I believe that if you believe that God is responsible for every evil thing that happens in your life, then it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. It's one sickness, one diagnosis, one betrayal, one accident, one anything. And you're like, how could you, God? And then you'll push him away, and you may never recover because you might hold on to that. Having this book and even launching it to the world, it's not out yet. It'll come out May 19th, depending on when you're watching this, but just announcing it has opened up infinite doors of people pouring out their stories and saying, oh my gosh, I need this, because people want to trust God, but they get stuck. And so this is me, standing on the shoulders of giants, the C.S. Lewis's of the world and all the people that I look up to. And I think of your favorite guy, Dallas Willard. I have to drop this quote. The famous Dallas Willard, he said, never believe anything bad about God.
Oh, dude, come on.
And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, Danny's going to love that. This is Danny's guy, and never believe anything bad about God. So if your faith, if you're believing the wrong things about God, how are you going to have an intimate personal relationship with him? How are you going to trust him with your salvation if you can't trust him with everyday life? Yeah. So he is the God worth trusting. And the devil is active and doing whatever he can do since Genesis to try to get us to view him incorrectly. I'll just sum it up real fast, but in the beginning, Adam and Eve are there, and God says, you may eat freely of all the garden, but there's just one tree, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The day that you eat of it, you will surely die. And immediately they're like, okay. And the serpent comes, and the devil's first appearance ever, he says, did God really say that? Did he really say that? He knows that the day that you eat of it, that you'll know good and evil just like him. You'll be like him.
You'll be like God.
And he doesn't want that.
Yeah.
So immediately sowing distrust and seeds of doubt about God's character. Yeah. It's about God's character. If he can get you to think the wrong things about God's character, then he's got you. Yeah. Because he doesn't really have to deal with you much, because you're now fighting the wrong battle. You're not going to fight him. You're going to fight the good guy. You're going to fight the author of life. Sure. And so.
And I have seen so many people, as I've led our church, and even this last weekend, we shared a story. I was telling you earlier about a young girl named Allison, and she prayed so hard for her boyfriend not to die, and he died, and it just broke her heart, and it caused her, she said this in her video, it caused her to feel betrayed by God. She said those words. And for months and months and months, she could not pray. She didn't go to church. She just felt like he had hurt her and let her down. Yeah. And the devil got in there and said, look what kind of God you have. In your darkest moment, he did not come through for you. And it was only by the love poured out through the people around her, and she eventually started to slowly come back to faith. Wow. And so what you're saying, I mean, it's so true. Like the barrier to really trusting God is thinking wrong thoughts about him, attributing evil or, just ill will for us, and once you're there, it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot to break free from.
Yeah.
And I feel like this book has an opportunity to do that for people.
I really hope so. I mean, literally, I don't claim to have all the answers. This book is trying to point people to the Bible and the true character of God.
Sure.
And, Jesus, it says that he is the image of the invisible God, right? If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Mm-hmm. So if your picture of God doesn't line up and look exactly like Jesus,
you got the wrong picture.
You got the wrong picture. You know what I mean? Like, does it sit right? Whatever you're thinking about God, does that sit right with Jesus? If Jesus is holding it, does that seem really out of place or not? That's a good indicator that you may be believing the wrong thing. And so, there's a lot there. And I'll add one more thing. When the disciples asked Jesus, they said, "Lord, teach us to pray." And he said, "Okay, our Father who art in heaven," right? And he goes into the Lord's Prayer. "Hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." And I looked at that and I was like, wait a minute. Jesus is telling us in the model prayer to pray for God's will to happen on the earth. We're all supposed to be praying for God's will to happen on the earth. Well, what does that imply? That implies that God's will does not automatically always happen on planet Earth.
Not.
Like, for example, if I sin, is that God's will for me to sin?
Right.
No,
Right.
It's not. So we're to pray for God's will to happen on the earth.
Or for a war to break out.
Exactly.
For a tsunami to whatever.
Yeah, we pray for God's will to happen on the earth. We get to be co-laborers and co-workers with him and in the kingdom.
Yeah.
And whether I share the gospel or not, it matters. Whether I pray, it matters. So I talk a lot about that in the book where your
behavior matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Eldredge has a fascinating book. Actually, you let me borrow it a long time ago. I think I still have it.
Wild at Heart?
No, Moving Mountains.
Moving Mountains, yeah.
Yeah. And he calls it, it's amazing. And I echo some of the things that he said in the book, but he calls it the dignity of causation. The dignity to make meaningful decisions that impact the world. And so what you do matters. What you praying or not, it really matters. And so we get to pray for God's will to happen on the earth, and we get to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And whether or not you do that matters. And so the reason why I mention that is if you go so far as to say that every single thing, if you believe that if something happens to me, that it was God, that's dangerous. Because what if it wasn't God? What if God had nothing to do with that? What if it was a free will person that made an evil choice? You see how if you start blaming God for everything that happens in your life,
that's where you get those wrong thoughts about him.
It's just a matter of time. If you believe that, it's only a matter of time until you're just going to be like, and it sounds great. Thinking that a lot of times it sounds great when things are going great. But when they're not,
and then when things go south, it's like, what are you doing to me?
Yeah. Why God?
You must not love me.
Yeah.
You must be whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. So, my next question is, and I know you kind of deal with this in the book. Why is it that some people seem to have an easier time trusting God in this, and then some just absolutely struggle? Do you think it all goes back to the thoughts? Like some people just naturally, they think they don't have a problem thinking positively about God, even in the midst of difficult circumstances, or is there more to it?
I think that's a big part of it. I think many of us, even Christians who are, if you would ask somebody like, what do you believe? And you're like, I'm a Christian, or I go to church, they might say that, but where did their theology come from? If you've ever watched Hollywood movies, it might be like, I got my theology from the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze, or I got Bruce Almighty,
it's a good one.
It's like, where does your theology come from? Because what you believe about God really matters. And so my goal with the book is pointing people to God's character, true character, and to help redefine. The first portion of the book is all about the problem. The second part of it is redefining, and changing our focus and trying to help people see it in a new way.
Yeah.
Because I give it an analogy, and this is from the military as well. But if you're a pilot, they have this rule where if you're 1 degree off, if you're going like 100 feet, if you're 1 degree off of your target, that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, you might be just slightly over. Mm-hmm. But the further you go, if you're 1 degree
20
off,
miles.
20 miles,
You're way off.
you could be miles away
absolutely.
from your target. So if you're 1 degree off about God's character, where will you end up?
Right. In 10 years.
Yeah. Where will that take you? You'll be so far off topic. So I'm like, so to me, I'm like, this really matters what you believe about him. And so I think of the fruit of the Spirit. A lot of times we hear the fruit of the Spirit and we think, oh, it's what we're supposed to do. And yes, it is. It's like we wake up every day and like, it's like putting on I wore this shirt today. I'm going to put on
joy,
the fruit
peace,
of
patience,
yes.
goodness, all that stuff.
But those are also fruit of the what?
Yeah. Spirit.
The Spirit.
That's what he's like.
That's what he's like.
Yeah.
That's his characteristics. We get to be like him. Ephesians 5:1. We get to be imitators of him.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Mm-hmm. And so it matters. If you think, man.
So what I'm hearing you say, and I think this is so important, even for those of us who lead people and help people through this. I mean, this is where a lot of people get stuck right here. What I heard you say was, our job as pastors and leaders is to help people think correctly about God. Because if they can think correctly about God, they'll learn to trust him more easily.
100%.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, because that's exactly right. You help sum up my long answer.
Well,
perfect.
There's a great quote by A.W. Tozer. I'm sure you've heard it. The most important thing about a human being is what comes to mind when they think about God.
Yeah.
And I read that from his book, Knowledge of the Holy, many years ago. I'm like, whoa, that's a pretty big statement. The most important thing about a human being is my thoughts about God. And I'm like, why? Why is that true?
Are you going to obey someone that you think does not have your best interest?
Yeah.
Are you going to follow someone that you feel like at any given moment might do something evil and hurt you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
I just did a sermon on this a couple weeks ago, and I basically said, it's not enough to believe that God is sovereign, meaning he oversees even human free will. It all falls under his providence and sovereignty. Yes, I know that's a mysterious thought and it's a deep thought, but I made the case for that God is ultimately sovereign over all human events. He either orchestrated it or he allowed it. It's one of those two things. If that's true, it's not enough to believe that, because what if he's not good and he's sovereign? Well, now we're doomed. We're in trouble. We should fear.
Oh yeah.
But that's why the Bible says, Nahum 1:7, that the Lord is good.
Yeah.
The Bible repeatedly says that over, like, what does it mean to be good? If I said, Ryan Mayer is a good person, what am I saying? If you said Danny Anderson's a good man, what you're saying is that's a guy you can trust. He will do right by you. Hey, you have a question about? No. He's a good man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can relax then.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. I can be open with him. I can be vulnerable with him. I can trust him. So it's this combination of sovereignty and the goodness of God.
100%.
That's what brings the peace to my heart.
Yeah.
Just personally.
Yeah. No, I love it.
I try to teach that to our people. So
I have a whole chapter in here about freedom, that God has made us free. So you said either he, what was the 2 words you said? Orchestrated it, or he allowed it,
or he decreed, or he allowed it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I look at the allowed it is under that umbrella of freedom.
Absolutely.
And the fact that before the foundations of the universe, God had decided in his wisdom to make these beings that had I think this is a C.S. Lewis quote. He said, the most amazing thing that God ever did was to create beings with the ability to say no to him. What? So he made us with the ability, because if choice wasn't real, then love wouldn't be real.
Yeah, there's no opportunity to love.
Yeah.
We'd be robots.
We're in an age of AI now. It's like if a robot walked up and said, "Hello, Ryan, nice to meet you. I love you." But I knew that I programmed it to do that.
Okay.
It'd be kind of funny for like a day or two, but it's like, all right, you're a robot. You've been programmed. You don't have feelings. You don't.
Some people would still
you
like
don't have choice.
Though.
Yeah. You're like,
we're so lonely.
I'll take anything I can get.
Desperate. It's like, okay, tell me more.
ChatGPT's a counselor for many, but I would say that because we were given the ability to choose, a lot falls under that realm of choice.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff that we deal with on a day-to-day thing is like people make free will decisions, you know, and God honors those free will decisions. You know, I set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Therefore, choose life.
Yeah.
You get to make choices. And so, I hope that resonates
It totally
for
does.
people, and,
Totally does.
and that it can minister to people in your church or your congregation. I've been very thankful that people have reached out and already want to do like little book studies
Absolutely.
and things like that about it. And it's going to be a tearjerker if you do that, because everyone's going to tell you all the horrible things that have happened in their life. But that's the stuff that we need healing from. So,
but isn't that's life? I mean, that's
life.
That's church. That's bearing each other's burdens. That's listening to our stories, helping each other work through those things. So I am super, super pumped about this book, and I'm glad that we get to sit here and encourage people to get it and promote it. How can people, tell us a little bit about when the book comes out. How can they get it?
Yeah. So the book is coming out May 19th of 2026. So depending on when you're watching this, but you can pre-order it now. So whenever you're viewing this, if it's before that date, you can pre-order it, or you can just get it on Amazon or any. I'm very thankful. The publisher is Worthy Publishing, and you can get it anywhere.
That's awesome.
I never in my life thought that I would be able to say that, like, wherever books are sold. That's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
To be able to pour your heart into something and say, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Target, you can go online, wherever, you know, hopefully the more reach that it has, the more retailers that it'll be in. So pretty much anywhere. You can just go online and type in the God Worth Trusting and you'll find it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we wrap up, I know we talked about a lot today. We could have done another hour on social media. Just thank you for stepping into your role and stewarding that so well, reaching literally billions, which is hard to even say out loud, each and every, month, over 500 million people. Thank you for that. Do you have any final closing words for us today on the social media end?
So if you're on the fence, please get off the fence and start investing in social media ministry, because there are people there. It's a big pond to fish in, and the Lord needs you to be there to help his people. The barrier for entry is a lot lower than you think. And I think there's a lot of people, if you put out an announcement at a minimum, there's going to be a lot of people that rise up and say, I'll help. And so what could that look like in a year? How many people could you impact in a year? How many people might accept Christ in a year on social media? A lot. And increase your posting frequency. You know, we got a lot of competition with the world. Yeah. I'd rather us have more. We're sowing seeds, so absolutely don't get shabby on your seed sowing. Increase the posting frequency and the at bats.
I love that. I love the at bats. So good, so encouraging to me.
And then on the book side, I would say, God is a God worth trusting. He's good. He is light. He is love, and in him is no darkness at all. And you can give your full heart and your life to him. And he is your heavenly Father, and he'll take care of it.
That's awesome. Well, as your friend, you live that out.
Thank you.
And I know that this book, I think our listeners probably saw and heard a little bit of passion in your life. This is not a book that you published to make money. This is your life story. This is your heart. This is your pastoral heart. This is what you see people getting stuck on social media. This is your attempt to not defend God. God doesn't need defending, but to step up and say, "Hey, let me clarify, God, so you can trust him." And I appreciate you throwing your hat in and helping people in their faith. So how can people follow you? Just give us a little direction if our audience wants to check you out and just start following your stuff.
Yeah. So on Instagram, you can go to Ryan.Maher is the handle. Ryan Maher was taken. Ryan.Maher.
Who's that guy?
I know. I'm like, hopefully, he's not posting anymore, but Instagram, if you're watching, I'll take the handle if you want to give it to me. On other platforms, it's Ryan Maher Faith. Okay. So just type in Ryan Maher on a lot of them and you'll find me. Maher, even though a lot of people say Maher, but it's You say
they're
it
sounding
correctly.
it out.
They're sounding it out, which is accurate. I should change it to a Y. But yeah, just and then ryanmaher.net is my website, so you can go there too. But yeah,
Awesome. Hey, thanks for being here. What a blessing.
thanks for
Hope
having
you
me.
guys got all that value, took a lot of notes, and appreciate you so much.
You
Guys,
too.
we'll see you next month on the podcast. God bless.
God bless.